Hello everyone, today we're going to do a quick tour of the Riga Aviation Museum. So this is located just outside of the Riga airport, and it features a whole bunch of old Soviet aircraft that are now in this random aviation museum. But it is pretty cool here. It's right next to the plane spotting hill that I was on in the last video of Riga, if you've seen that one. But yeah, it's right next to the airport. It is a really cool museum. As you can already see a whole bunch of helicopters over here. Here is an Aeroflot helicopter. All of the aircraft from the Soviet era, pretty much, I think all of them are. And it's a very big museum. It's all outdoors, so that's why we see a lot of these are quite rusted. And I wouldn't say they're all very well maintained, and half the museum is just kind of a junkyard, and we'll see that later on. But here we see a trainer for Aeroflot, also looking very nice right there. There's like a Cessna looking aircraft back there. That is an actual Cessna, and not a Soviet Cessna. And here is another aircraft. I'm not sure what half of these are. I'm not sure what more than half of these are, but some sort of Soviet era fighter. And they just look really cool. Very vintage for sure. But yeah, I'm definitely not sure what a lot of these are. You can see a hollow engine right there. Some more trainers most likely. Maybe something else right here. This yellow bird. Very nice. And then here we are seeing this section most of the fighters at this museum right here. Of course, all MiGs and maybe some Sukhois as well. But yeah, all old Russian fighters. That's what we see here. Because of course Latvia was part of the Soviet Union back in the day. So naturally, that's how I would assume all of these got here. And well, that's what we see here, of course. Some really stunning aircraft. So a lot of those tires, you can definitely see the tires definitely deflated right there. But the aircraft are at least all in one piece. Although I don't think any of these are going to be ever flying again. Surely not. Here we have a MiG-23. For some reason they had CDs hanging from the nose cone thing, so that was a bit interesting. As you can see, a whole bunch of MiGs, all very interesting. Like I said, I don't know a whole lot about fighters, especially not Soviet fighters. Not my area of expertise, but this is about the best opportunity that I'll ever get to see many of these aircraft up close, so it is cool in that sense. As where else are you going to see these but the Riga Aviation Museum? This one with some plant growing next to it. And a whole bunch of more Soviet-era fighters back there, some smaller ones. Got some missiles. And then here is a private jet right here. I'm not really sure how this got here, but obviously not in very good shape anymore. Obviously this is a Hawker 700, I believe. And we'll go around and see it on the little placard. And here is that on the ground there. Hawker 700. And clearly this one is not in the greatest shape. We're now kind of moving into the more of the junkyard area of this museum, as you can see, with all of this, frankly, junk strewn about right here. You got some galley pieces, just galleys that have been ripped up. I don't even know what half of this stuff is. You have a fuel truck back there from Riga Airport back in the day. Some other vehicles. I'm not sure what these are, but got a whole bunch of stuff, but still mostly mostly junk and vehicles. This part we have a lavatory right there, so that's pretty interesting. That's a nice find right there. You got a lavatory. Here's an Uzbekistan Airlines, whatever you call that. A whole bunch of signs for the ramp and apron, and then also got some poppies. And then here we have just some more of the same, really. Here's just a random car that was in the middle. But we got more fighters, so can't get enough of these here at this museum. This one obviously very cool because basically the entire fuselage is an engine. That one is the whatever that said. I couldn't read it in time. Here we have yet another, probably MiG right here. I think you're getting the impression of what the majority of their stock at this museum is. And definitely rusted over. That looked like I think that was a Sukhoi. So all Soviet air fighters. I mean, you kind of know what to expect, but it's still very cool to see. Unfortunately, I did not have a whole lot of time to spend at this museum. Would have loved to spend more time, but we really were limited to only a half hour. So most of this footage that you see is pretty much all the time that I spent in all these places because I really wasn't able to see them, or didn't have the time to. A bunch of old wheels right there. Got a cart. And more just airplane parts, engine parts. Here we have some cockpits of some old Soviet aircraft right here. Maybe these were used for simulators or something. Got a Tu-134 right there. Actually, I think they're all Tupolev cockpits, for I think mostly Tu-134s. Here's a massive helicopter. This is now moving into the other part of there's kind of three little zones in the museum. This is the final one. You have to cross a little creek to get to this one, but this is the zone with the best maintained aircraft. So here's this first helicopter, which is absolutely massive. I'm not sure what this would have been used for, but it is just a gigantic helicopter. Very cool to see right here. And as you can see, it's pretty well maintained. But obviously, not the best. And there's been people who have etched their name into the dust on this aircraft, so that's very creative of them. I didn't do that. Didn't feel like it was necessary, nor the best way of promoting the channel. I almost wrote MSP Aviation on there, but I feel like that wouldn't have been the smartest way of promoting the channel. Especially because I don't know if anyone in Latvia would be interested in this. I know I have some Latvian viewers out there, so shout out to all my Latvian viewers. Anyways, our next aircraft is this Estonian glider, or it's a glider that's registered in Estonia. Full of duct tape. Look at all the duct tape on the wings. It's kind of insane right there. Got a whole bunch of duct tape on this glider, all silver, looking very cool. And you can see Estonian registration on the Estonian flag right there. A beautiful flag for Estonia. I always have to say it, but they did a great job with their flag. And here we have this massive fighter right here. Again, I'm not sure what this is, but it does indeed look very cool right here. Of course, Soviet jet, and this one being absolutely massive. Very nice. And as we can see here, this is actually a Tupolev designed jet. Definitely the biggest of the military aircraft here at this museum. And definitely very stunning. I mean, I could visit underneath it completely. You might want to watch your step going around here, though. You see some more air stairs, other junk really over there. Here's some more military aircraft over here. All looking very nice, of course. Well, maybe not super nice. The they could have maintained a little bit better, as I've said already, but the aircraft themselves look pretty cool. This one in kind of a camo livery. And now we'll move on to some of our airliners, because why not? So here is our first one, an N2246 for Aeroflot. But actually, this wasn't Aeroflot. This was for Baltica Airlines or whatever. It's for Baltica, who operated in Latvia right after the Soviet Union dissolved. And they were the flag carrier of Latvia for a few years, and then they didn't really go anywhere. Or not Baltica, Latvian Airlines, or something like Latavio, something like that. Very weird time in the Latvian aviation history, but this is one of their aircraft, as you can see. Probably not the safest airline at all to fly on. Wouldn't recommend it. Of course, Air Baltic is now the airline. So, but yeah, Latavio Airlines, very weird. And this is the one thing that I touched this entire time, and it came out right away. So probably shouldn't touch the things here. Yeah, that was kind of funny. It just popped right out. Anyways, now on to the piece de resistance, the Aeroflot Tupolev Tu-134 right here. And this is the centerpiece of the museum, the highlight of this video. Just such a stunning aircraft right here. Looking absolutely gorgeous right here. Definitely the largest and probably the best maintained out of them all. And, I mean, gotta love it right here. Of course, in the older Aeroflot livery. Got Aeroflot Russian Airlines right there. And there you can see the wing, overwing exits. Here's the main gear. And the wing, I had to crouch down to get underneath this one. But walking underneath the wing, very cool. And then here is, of course, the engine. It says G134A. And then the Russian flag right there on the tail, of course, for Aeroflot. This was, I guess, after the Soviet era, but probably not too long after. And then we'll go over to the back of the aircraft here. We have, of course, the engines back there, T-tail, of course, very nice. And then here we go over to the other side, the wing. It actually started raining now, so you can see some raindrops falling on the screen. So that's probably a sign that we need to get out, because we're going to have to leave anyways pretty soon. But there we see, there's the underside of the wing again. I mean, all the work that went into this aircraft right here. Very impressive. Here's the registration underneath the wing. And yeah, just a little bit rusty, but still very beautiful right here. You also see some Air Britannia air stairs right there. Here is the Aeroflot logo once again, this time in Russian. And then here, of course, the stairs, which are unfortunately fenced off. It would have been really cool to try to go up there and just see it from that perspective. But here we are back to the nose and a little nose window, which is a very cool feature of the Tu-134. And that'll do it for today's video. So thank you all for checking this out. I'll see you tomorrow. As always, good night. Auf Wiedersehen.